Hello, everybody, and welcome to Boss Rush's Xbox podcast, Arsenal X. I'm your host, Jesse Douglas, and I'm here with that retro code, Edward Varnell. How's it going, Ed?
It's going great. Yo, everybody.
It's going pretty good for me, too. I actually went and did something with my friends for I think the second or third time since COVID only. So, normally when we did stuff, it was, online, but we actually got together and just played some Cards Against Humanity and stuff today. So I had a pretty good week, and then we've been making some plans for the future of things that we want to do, because my birthday and my friend Robert's birthday both are this month, and mine's the 24th and his is the 27th. So
my friend's birthday is, I think, the 29th. I got actually two birthdays. My friend David, his is the 26th, 27th. My other friend Ashley is the 29th, and then my birthday is on the 10th in April. And it's just we have got to do something. There's got to be some kind of restaurants opening up, because literally because of COVID, we all miss each other bad.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing is we'll do stuff together and go out and do stuff at at my friend's house, but it's been very, very slim, and we're keeping our distance and all that kind of stuff. And if we go anywhere or whatever, me and my family, we wear masks and stuff. But that's the thing is, it's really, as long as you follow those rules and stuff, you can go do things. It's I get it. Some places it's a little bit harder, in bigger cities where there's just such, there would be just so many people that you're around that it would be difficult to, to be distanced and all that kind of stuff. But actually, my wife, we were talking about churches and all that kind of stuff the other day when we went on a walk, and because my wife had mentioned something about going to a different church that's closer to us, and I'm like, what, why are you going there? And she's like, oh, well, the place that we were going to, they don't make anyone wear masks or anything now. She said so. She went in there, and almost everyone's just not wearing a mask. They're not distanced, nothing. So she's like, I just don't want to go there anymore. Yeah, so she went to a different place
today. I know we at our church, we're still wearing masks. We're still following the guidelines and everything. Even at work, we're still following the guidelines. This one man, he came in and he didn't have his mask, but no, he did have his mask on, but he took it off because he had to do a photo. He just never put it on, and I was just like, let me get him out the store, because it's these folks, they clown if you don't got a mask. If your mask is falling or anything, they will let you know, put your mask on. I'm like, ma'am, it doesn't matter if I got my mask on and off. I'm behind a shield. You already 8 feet away. You put your stuff on the counter and then walked back, even with my mask on, with me behind the glass. So it won't matter if I have it on and off. You're distancing yourself and doing the most for some unknown reason. Why are you 8 feet away and all you got is a newspaper? Really, really. And stuff.
Yeah.
But they will let you know in my area of work. So.
Yeah, which that's the thing is I feel like most people are nice about it, because sometimes you do, I've even done it where I've walked away from my car and I just completely forgot to grab my mask, and but then really quick, the second you see a mask on someone, you're like, oh crap, that's right, I gotta, it happens. It's because honestly, like for the most part, I don't really go anywhere other than work. And so I leave my mask in my car. And when I go to work, I don't really need to wear a mask unless I get there early before
Mhm.
teachers and stuff are still there.
Yeah.
Because there's only one other person that works with me, and they work on a completely different level than I do the whole night. So we're not really around each other at all. And when we are, I just stay away from them quite a bit, just talk to them from a really far
Yeah,
distance.
so me and another associate, we could take our masks down or have our mask off, because we're the only ones in the store. All the customers are gone, and normally we're still kind of distance because I'm in the office doing the money and stuff, and they're like in a break room waiting for us to leave.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah, that's just that, like, for me, like, I just, unless I go out of my way to go somewhere,
mhm.
I don't really have to wear it. And so I still can sometimes, forget to grab it, before I go do something. But I mean, I think it's only happened to me like twice, because it's still like, it's been long enough now that it's constantly in your head. But yeah, so I mean, I just gotta still plan my, schedule my day to go get the first shot,
Mhm.
and then hopefully it won't be too long, and I, still obviously wear a mask when I go places, but it won't be as stressful of a thing, because yeah, we're actually talking about possibly going to the new Dave and Buster's by
Mhm.
us, because that opened up, I think, like last week
Oh,
or
nice.
so. So so yeah, I figure, we figure we'll see too. I mean, if it's too crazy busy in there,
Mhm.
I might just say forget it, Like, that's the thing, because I don't know if they're gonna be, if it's full capacity, or how they're gonna be doing that. So I'll have to find out first, but we'll figure something out. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, because I mean, otherwise we just go grab something to eat, and figure something else out. But yeah, so yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully getting to actually, do something at Dave and Buster's, because me and you went that one day
Yeah.
before COVID when I came to visit you, but we didn't really get a chance to do anything because it didn't really pay to, we didn't have a whole lot of time. That's more for something like if you want to do like make a whole day of it
Yeah.
and just sit there and do fun stuff. So,
Yes.
but yeah, so all right. Yeah, we'll get into some of this news and stuff. I need to pull something up here. Sorry,
Oh,
because
that's
I had
okay.
this done already.
That is okay. We know that some good things are coming for Xbox. I can just hope more will come and everything.
Yeah.
I will say this. I was going to download 3 out of 10, and my controller batteries died. Like they ran out of juice, and
Yeah.
I think I can't find my charger to replace it. I think I put it in another room in the house. I'm just like, where is this charger at? So I gotta get the charger, charge up my batteries, and then I'll be buying that game. Because I do want to give it a try.
Yeah.
For it and stuff. But
Yeah,
yeah.
that's one of the nice things about having gotten the Elite Controller Series 2,
Mm,
is it came with like a 10-foot long charging cord. So like that thing is super long. So you can like plug it in and yeah, have have a really long cord so you can use it and play while you're charging it. So, but
uh,
yeah, because I mean, still bummed that but now I'm seeing, speaking of news type stuff, I see that like one of the Elite controller, that a lot of people are having issues with some of the buttons,
mm,
and I finally seen a video of someone showing they're having the same issue as me with that bumper, because it's only the bumper the right bumper button that's given me issues. Everything else works perfect, but for whatever reason. But luckily you can program those paddles in the back
Mm-hmm.
to be buttons, and so all I did is I just pat one of the paddles on the right side underneath. I just programmed it as the right bumper, so I don't even need to futz with it at all. I can just push that instead,
Oh, that's
which
nice.
is easier too, because a lot of times if you want to hit that right bumper, and you're doing other stuff and you gotta switch over, but I can literally keep my finger right at the trigger button, the right trigger, and
Yeah.
never have to leave it, and I can just hit with my other fingers I'm not using, hit that bumper, and not have to move any fingers at all. So
I will say this, that I'm actually surprised that Microsoft did the Elite controller when the Series X came out, because normally those controllers would kind of happen like about the second, well, not second, about
well,
third.
remember they did it before the Series X even came out.
Well, yeah,
It was available, like before the Series X even was available.
because like most of their Elite controllers come out like the third year after that version of that console comes out. Because I think the Elite for one came out, I think when the Slim was out, before One X was about to hit, and it was just like, oh, okay. And then to see it be like, oh, they got the Elite way early. They probably been working on that controller alongside the Xbox One Series X controller. I'm surprised. I'm really am surprised.
Yeah, yeah. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they see enough issues with this Series 2 one that who knows, they might even just come out with a third one of like in a couple of years or something, who knows, and like rechange it again. Because the thing is like it has that button for changing between the modes, but that button is right where the screen capture button is on the new ones. So it doesn't have a screen capture button at all. So I could see them making a third one eventually where they actually have a screen capture button on it as well. So I mean,
that's when Series X2 come out. Like it's the Slim, it's the updated version. Even though they got the Slim and the regular one, I was just like, you guys gonna do a redesign and even make that version a little bit more powerful. Knowing Microsoft, I'm just saying. But if they don't, I'll be shocked. Be like, oh, so the Series X is just like you guys really been upgrading the system, probably do patches and stuff, and like unleashing the power of the beast. I should say.
Yeah. Well, and I haven't really been paying too much attention to like third party controllers at all, if they're putting if they're putting the capture button on their controllers or not.
I honestly tell you, I don't even know if there is any third party controller for Series X.
Yeah, there's a wire. They have what is it? Power A or whatever makes a wired version that's like their wired version of the controller. It's more like the actual original Series X controller, but it has the programmable bumpers and stuff on the bottom, and has it where you can set the triggers to have a shorter or longer pull. So they have one that's basically like a series, like the Elite controller, but it's just wired, and it's obviously I think it's only like 60 or $70, which is like,
And a lot of people kind of like Power A. Like I think their quality is more reasonable. Like I haven't heard anybody had any problems with them.
Yeah, they're the only issue with them is they're not really built to last forever. Like they might last a couple of years.
Yeah.
But I've had a couple of them where after a while you just start to have issues with them. After a couple of years, they start to kind of have issues a lot of the time. But I think it's just they're not using like high quality parts in it. It's all plastic. It's mostly plastic, and and the rubber pieces they use and stuff for button presses and stuff, I'm sure are not quality. So, but
Yeah.
yeah. So, all right. Yeah, let's get it. Oh, actually, yeah. What have you been playing, Ed?
So,
I'll
um,
skip that.
so I been like playing a little bit more of Ghouls and Ghosts Resurrection on Switch. Um, I've been playing. I did a playthrough of Gree, and I'm going to be working on that project like this coming week. For it, I got the gameplay that I needed. There might be some shots that I need to recapture and replay. So just to get some things, but pretty much I think I still need to finish the Outriders demo, and I still feel the same way that this game is. It feels like it's a THQ game, um, developed by people can't fly. Like this is Red Faction 2 for some unknown reason. Um,
Mhm.
so that's pretty much what I've been playing. I'm like I said, I'm going to be jumping into BioShock Infinite this week also. So um
Mhm.
I'll be able to speak more about that. But yeah, that Outriders demo is not it's not good. It's to me it's a 29.99 sale purchase of a game with this demo because the audio issues, the cutscenes, how that goes, the story feels combobulated, like it's disjointed. Um, it's it feels it so I kind of talked about like Fuse that Insomnia did with EA. It
Mhm.
felt like it was one thing, and then when they got in contact with EA, it changed to be something else. And it kind of feels that way. Like it has this aliens premise in a sense, or aliens resurrection premise into it. And then it turns literally into something else. And it's just like I don't like what this is, and like these issues. The shooting is fine. The this I it may be my TV, but I had to turn that brightness up because it was too dark of a game. And then I was just like, okay, I got the brightness, but then it's parts where I can't even see them, even though they got the red triangle over them. It was just like, am I hitting them or not? Like, it's kind of hard to tell if they're like literally losing energy or something. I know they got a bar that you could like hit and see it go down, but it was just like, I don't know if my shots are lining up because on how bright the screen is, and like I can't really see my reticle trying to hit them. Like there were just so many decisions that I'm like, I don't know why this is happening in a sense. And if it does get delayed, good. If it doesn't, I I really feel like this game is gonna be like a 7. Or if it's gonna be on Metacritic, it may get like a 75 or lower. Because if this is what this game has to offer, I don't think it's going to survive. I find the story, how they started it up, I find that uninteresting. It seems like they got some good characters, but it's just like, it's just a disjointed crazy, not crazy, just confused mess of a demo. And if this is like representation of the actual game when it comes out, I don't care how much progress I say, I would be like, I'm not buying this unless it's on a good like internet sale. I mean, like Microsoft sale, or I find it in a bargain bin for 19.99. Because it's just it's just not good.
Yeah, I've heard that it's not a great representation of it. Like there are quite a bit of differences to the
Hmm.
actual, like to some of the stuff. But that's the thing is, I mean, like I it just kind of, I think that unfortunately they were stuck stuck giving you only that part that you do,
Mm-hmm.
just because they probably didn't want to open up the world and bring you into the bigger, the bigger picture of what the game is, because like they just either, it's not all completely finished, or or whatever when they made that demo for it. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't as down on it as some people are. I enjoyed what I played. I seen the potential and, like what it's doing. Like that's the thing, is like I I still want to see what's after, like what I've played so far, like, because it kind of ends, and like right when it feels like you're about to go into the bigger open world area,
Mm-hmm.
because that first area is kind of, is a smaller, it's kind of open, but it just feels like a regular, like, map, like a regular map in a single player storyline, right? So I think there's a lot more to see from it, but unfortunately that they couldn't show us anymore in that demo, and I'm hoping that it is going to open up quite a bit from where it leaves off. So, like, and I do hope that they're listening to what people are saying, if people are being critical about it, or trying to be like, critical in a good way about it, and to try to help them, fix certain things. And it does seem like they're pretty active with the community.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, they were on top of it, like, right away when they were having issues with the game not wanting to start and all that stuff, and that was fixed right away. But what I didn't realize, though, is even though they had fixed that stuff, like, the problem was is I hadn't reset my Xbox, or whatever, and you had to hard cycle your Xbox to get any old lingering save state files out of the cache or whatever.
Yeah.
And and then all of a sudden like I could load into the game just fine. So there was some issues where I thought it was still having issues, but in reality it's just I didn't know that I had to reset my Xbox. And unfortunately, I'm sure there were other people that didn't know that and didn't even bother to look or check, or even find that stuff out. But
I think what
it's always an issue when it comes to beta stuff and all that. There's always issues, and
yeah.
and you know I like all we really need, I think, is for them to just, like, next time when they talk about it or show stuff off, is maybe give us a little taste of what else there is, like, why they think people need to play their game. So
I kind of
hopefully we'll see.
I kind of want to ask, and I kind of might put this to the RX community. Why do games like this get forgiven for their repetitive nature, and other games get, like, people won't try it, or they be like, "That's not my kind of game because I grind too much," and the repetitive nature of it is like unforgivable. And this is no disrespect to, like, this game or Destiny or stuff like that, but there are people who complain about role-playing games because you grind too much, but I'm like, but you're doing the same thing. It's just that the action is more faster, and
Yeah.
you fight hard to get the next gun to have a higher number. And people who
Yeah.
play role-playing games who grind, they do the same thing, but they're kind of looked down on it, and it's so weird.
I
Why
think
what's accepted
I
and
don't.
what's forgiven?
Yeah, I think it's more about what kind of person you are, like what your
Mm-hmm.
interests are, because the thing is like, like for a Destiny, Destiny 2, we'll just take that as an example. For me, like, doing all the things and, like the shooting, like doing the missions, doing the side missions, even doing them repeatedly. Some of those side missions are like the live events or whatever, how in Destiny you have where all of a sudden bad guys will just get, dropped off and then all of a sudden an event will start out of nowhere. Um, I think like because I love first person shooters, like for
Mm-hmm.
me, it's not that big of a deal. Like I don't care about doing stuff like that repetitively. But on the other hand, though, if you tell me that I've got to sit there and keep on digging up stuff and, like just searching to collect, just I don't know, like branches or collect, this or collect that, like just little tedious things where there is no action. It's just literally you going around searching for things because you got to keep on, doing all this stuff so you can build things, so you can level something up or, like tedious things like that for someone like me is just it's too boring of a thing where when I'm shooting things and doing stuff, it's keeping me more interactive and more keeping my attention more, versus certain things that you can a lot of times have to do in some of these other games. Because even like in Destiny or or like Anthem when I was playing that, like I if I was in an area where there was the type of loot or type of thing that you could collect, from
Mm-hmm.
plants or whatever in that world. If I was by them or I was by the chests that are in Destiny, like that have the glimmer loot in it, if I just happened to run into them, I would collect it. But I'm not in those games. I'm not going and doing that repetitive, boring stuff of just looking for just things like that. Where and it's not as big of a deal in a first person shooter, whereas I feel like a lot of the times like RPGs and stuff, like there's a lot of times finding that extra stuff throughout the world is a little bit more useful, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
So
It,
I
it's
think I think that's the thing is I think it just depends on what kind of person you are, because there's a lot of people who don't care about the grinding in RPGs and they love it. They
yeah.
love doing the monotonous stuff of planting something and or just like doing some kind of random thing like fishing just so they can upgrade or increase their level on something. Like certain people love doing that, but I think it's both of them, both type of games. Those kind of grinding stuff just isn't for everyone, and there's a lot of people where just if they have to grind period, no matter what kind of game it is, they don't enjoy it at all. So
it's
I
because
think it's just a matter of the person,
person
honestly.
because it's weird that the formula is the same, like the formula is the same but the execution is different, and so
Yeah.
why do one execution is accepted and then the other execution is like not accepted? And like you said, it depends on the person and stuff.
Yeah.
It's really interesting and kind of educational to me because it's just like I understand that if you're playing like a Destiny or even Outriders and even the Division 2, that you're playing this stuff and you're grinding to get more gear to be stronger, you should be able to play Final Fantasy or some kind of role playing game and just be able to grind to up your levels. The levels is your armor to make you stronger and everything so
Yeah.
that you can survive the next battle. But some people don't like that. And it's it's not mind boggling, but it's just like
Yeah.
I think sometimes I think sometimes that people need to switch it up in a sense. If you love
Yeah.
grinding and you're into the kind of shooter, the looter shooters, you should be able to play a JRPG and be able to transfer that experience of grinding to the JRPG. Just know that you won't get you won't get new equipment unless you go out to look for new equipment, like a side quest. But you are grinding to get money to buy armor for the next thing, and you're trying to up your levels and everything. It's just interesting and educational to see, you know. But like I said, I'll probably oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think part of the issue also might be that, like, you know, something like Destiny or something like that, like when you go into that game, you know that it's a game with a service where it's, you know, like it is if you want to, it's never ending to get like to a certain point of where your character's powerful enough to do like raids and stuff like that. And then from that point on, you know, like you can keep on doing that stuff, getting rewarded and all that stuff. But when it comes to a lot of RPGs, like, you know, at least like, you know, the more traditional ones where it's basically just single player and there's an end to the game, I think a lot of the times some of those RPGs like are super long as it is. Like they're really, really long to finish it. And then, but then on top of that, it's even longer, you know, like games like Witcher and stuff. You hear people just be like, man, like games like that are just too long, you know, as much as people loved Witcher, they just didn't like that there's so much stuff they had to grind and do to be able to get finished.
But it's kind of funny because the same niff that you would do in The Witcher is the same niff that you're doing in a looter shooter in a sense. The time management is different because yes, they are adding new content, but if you're putting 180 hours in and it's only been 4 months, and you could put that same 180 hours in The Witcher. The content is there. There's no upgrades like updates and stuff unless you want it.
And that's the difference. That's the difference, though.
And that's what I find.
Looter shooter.
Right, and that's what I find interesting and educational in the sense that you're able to put your time into this. You should be able to. I think the thing with me is like if you put the time into this, you should be able to transfer that same time into this other thing. The execution is different, but you should still be able to do it in a sense. And some people are just like no. But like you said, the length of a game sometimes affects.
Yeah. Well, I think let's say though that Witcher 4 comes out. And if you put all that time into 3, and then your character from 3 is now at the level that he's at, and you know, and you have all these perks and all this stuff ahead of time now because you put all that time in, and now you can start out with that in 4. I don't think people would make a big deal about it. Like take, you know, like I think this is a good example. How about like when Zelda, Breath of the Wild came out, if you beat and you played Twilight Princess and you had that amiibo, all that time and hard work that you put into beating that game and getting that your wolf link upgraded, you now had that the ability to use all that time and you know that you put into working on that character. Now you had a powerful, very, you know, version of that wolf that you could call in and help you in Breath of the Wild with, you know, a bunch of hearts and everything. Like I think that's the problem, is like when you do something like that and you put all that time into Destiny, when the next season of whole bunch of expansions, which is, you know, basically as long as a new, you know, a brand new story add-on, all that time that you put in is going to transfer over to the next big drops of stories.
Mhm.
So I think that's the difference. Like, you put all that time into it for nothing but to beat that game. And once you beat the game, none of that stuff matters anymore. None of that monotonous, like tedious stuff that you did doesn't matter anymore. Yes, you beat the game, but beyond that, there's nothing to show for all that wasting of time that you had to do in order to be able to beat the game. Like,
Right.
so I think that's the thing, is like, when you do it in a looter shooter, you at least get to use all that time and progress that you put in to bring forward into the next big chunks of the story.
Which I understand, but I think, like, for me, I think it's the person transferring that time in. I'm saying that, like, if you played 180 hours of Destiny, you should be able to still sit down and do, like, let's say 180 hours of The Witcher. Just use that for example.
Yeah.
Like I said, the flows, the execution is different. Like, I'm just saying that the grinding and stuff is different, because if I know you're grinding and you're getting rewards and stuff to enhance your character, but even that time, it's that, I think it's that actual time spent is what I'm trying to get at. If you put that time in, regardless of what you get, you should be able to still put that time into another game of that same caliber, but the different execution. It's just interesting and educational. That I find.
I think like I said, though, it comes down to, certain people. Like, I don't think a lot of people who play those RPGs and stuff, like, who like those kind of games, they're not usually the ones who complain. I think it's more along the people like me or Corey, or people who don't have a whole lot of free time, who are like, God, I'd really like to play this game.
See, and that's the thing. But that's the thing.
I don't want to spend 180 hours just to finish one game.
But that's the thing. Everybody say, and I'm not gonna use you or Corey about it. Everybody keep people saying, "Well, I wish I have the free time." You do have the free time. You're just placing it on that one particular game, and you continue to bring that free time to that one particular game. You choose not to go to another game and use that free time. So that is
because my free time.
Right.
Yeah, but for Corey, like with Destiny 2, his free time and the time he spends in Destiny is actually rewarding him, for certain things that you can only unlock when you're playing that.
Right.
So that's the thing is playing Witcher isn't going to get you anything special.
But I think I think the thing is, when some people and I'm not going to use Corey. I'm just saying, when people in general say, "Well, I don't got the free time," I'm like, you do have the free time. You just decide to place that free time in this one particular game on a repetitious manner. And I can understand that's your right and everything. But you should also be able to be like, you know what, I need to put my free time into something else. And be able to get a new experience and stuff, because you can't really say I didn't have no free time. You did have free time. It's just that you chose it to be in this one game and not various other games.
I completely get that. It's at the end of the day, it's all about like what you're interested in putting the time into. Because like like when the Final Fantasy VII remake is finally available for Xbox or whatever, I'm gonna put my time into that, even though it's gonna probably take me a while to finish it, but like the thing is I'm always more drawn to games that are like in that sweet spot of like 8 to 13 hours, to finish a game, because that's like, for me, like the reason I don't play a Witcher 3 is because in the time that it takes me to finish Witcher 3, I could finish, like 5 or 6 like regular single stories, and and even 6 of them. I mean, at like 10 hours a piece, that's 60 hours. That's still only a quarter of the time
Right. But
that
if
it
you're
would take
but
to.
if you're but if you're using that in a multiplayer game, let's just use Call of Duty or Battlefield for example. If you're using that same time, like those 60 hours throughout the month or 2 months, you can
Mhm.
also be using that same time to do it in The Witcher. It doesn't matter if you're doing single player for some short game. If you're spending that same time in multiplayer stuff, you should be able to spend that same time. So if I'm spending 45 hours in Final Fantasy 7, I could really spend that 45 hours also in Call of Duty. I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. I should be able to do 45 hours in Titanfall. As many games that I jump around with,
Mhm.
I should still be able to use that time in other games. And
Yeah, like for me personally, I think the problem too is when you get into something like Witcher or some of those like deeper story driven
yeah,
games. Like for someone like me who a lot of times when I sit down and play something, I might only have 15 minutes to
yes.
do something. Some of those games aren't meant to be played in only small increments like that. So like I might
Your
be
15
in the
minutes might
middle of
just
a story.
look. Your 15
Yeah.
minutes might be the cussing. You be like, dang.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's another thing that comes into play
Yeah,
is this game built to be able to be played in small increments like I may only have the time for, you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
So there, yeah, I think there's a lot that comes into what a person picks and chooses to be their go-to game because, obviously it like either it does something for them that other games at the time just don't do for them, or it makes them feel like their time's more rewarding, or whatever it is. But I think, and that's the thing, there's probably people out there who playing Witcher 3, if they can spend hours in that, they'd rather put hours into that than play Call of Duty or whatever. But then again, that's the thing, is it all depends on what you prefer. Like I prefer first person shooters. Yeah, because I'm decent at them, but also like, they're set up in ways where you can do something and be finished in a couple, 15, 20 minutes and be done. But um, it just all comes down to preference, like
yeah.
most things. But yeah, so that's pretty much what you've been playing then. Now that we've went on a complete tangent, but
No,
hey,
I think that's a really good discussion to really
mhm.
ask
Yeah,
people like,
yeah,
because
we
I
didn't have a whole lot of news today anyway to talk
yeah,
about, so.
yeah, because I really think that, and not and I don't mind people harping on me that I play like 8 or 9 games throughout the week. I'm spending my free time jumping around games
Mhm.
because
Yep,
I know that
I
even if
do the same thing.
yeah, because yeah,
Uh,
even if I sit down, and I guess that's why when it gets to game of the year stuff and everything,
yeah,
it's kind of hard. People have like, well, I'll make my choice of this game because I've only played it. This is the only other game that I played, and it's just like, well, you can't really harp on someone who has played 30 plus some games and everything,
yeah.
and people who played the 30 plus
Well,
games can't harp on that one person for playing that one game.
yeah, and I mean that's, like when it comes to our game of the year stuff, that's usually how I pick my games for my choices are usually like, okay, well, because I'm like you, where I hop from game to game to game,
Mm,
but I look at the games that every year there always are where it was so good for me that I didn't want to jump to other games. I actually sat and played all the way through it right away because I just had to. I had to finish it because it was just so good to me, and it did everything that I wanted it to do. So I didn't feel the need to jump to other games.
you know
So
what?
that's how I picked my games
You
usually.
And I'm probably gonna get flack for this, but you know what? Sometimes I feel like games like Fortnite and Destiny, I think those games are cheating, like somewhat cop outs in a sense to get like a Game of the Year nomination, because of course they keep updating and stuff, and it's just like, shouldn't Game of the Year just be for games that come out that actual year that people have actually played? Because it's just like I think, well, okay, so I'll put it out. I'll just put it out here. I know people get on me about Paper Mario, but I have played a lot of 2020 games. I have played Ghost of Tsushima. I have played The Last of Us Part 2. I have played Doom Eternal, Animal Crossing. I have played a lot of games on all three platforms, and it's kind of hard to be like, I think the hard part comes in when you have to choose between those three systems. What are the or the top games to put as your nominations? And then you look at someone, let's say Suzanne or something, and all she played was the Division 2. Let's say the Division 2 came out for 2020. All she played was the Division 2, and it's just like, how do you make a list out of that? Where if your only game is the Division 2, it's just like, how do you contribute to a Game of the Year thing? Is it because that you didn't play all of those games, or is it just like, because they got a higher rating, I'm just going to nominate that and move on? You know, it's
Yeah.
very weird. And I'm not knocking anyone on Boss Rush. I'm not knocking anyone who
No.
do their Game of the Year. I think sometimes when it comes to a Game of the Year discussion, I kind of feel like, at least play, to me personally, I feel like at least play 3 games that have came out of that personal year to make your decision. And your ongoing game should not be one of the nominations, because of the thing is if you gave it a nomination for last year, it's kind of unfair that you're doing that same nomination for this year. In a
Yeah,
sense,
and
you get what I'm
I feel
saying?
like yeah, and I feel like we don't really nominate games that are ongoing like that as much, like
Mhm.
it's different. It's different. Like some of them are different. Like I don't think I could ever let, Fortnite be, other than literally an ongoing game. Um, Something like Destiny is a little different because when they have like a season, there's like it's like a
But
whole new game because
But
they're
I- that,
adding a whole new campaign to.
but that's why I feel like that is the cop out. That's the cheat thing, because it's still an ongoing game, because that game has also been out. Because you get updated content doesn't make it right for it to be a Game of the Year nomination. It should be something that literally freshly came out for for that personal year. If this is 2021, I want to see The Medium. I want to see
Yeah.
Cyber Shadow, and I want to see Resident Evil, no, Returnal. Those 3, because they dropped this particular year, those should be the games that should be on a nomination list, of an actual nomination list or something. For example, for Game of the Year, it shouldn't be Fortnite, Destiny, Call of Duty, just because they got updates. You get what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because
Well, yeah, and I mean, especially like Call of Duty, usually they have a new one every year, so there's not a reason to pick, but I understand what you're saying, because like in a more traditional or professional setting, usually you would have your destinies and all that would be part of the ongoing game nominations, like games that did a good job, the best job of continuing to add content and stuff like that.
and
So
yeah,
yeah, like I get it. Yeah.
yeah, and like I said, I'm not
I
trying
think
to
it's
knock.
part of it too, is it's really hard for us because we're not at a level where we can do it professionally. Like all these games and stuff we buy are still coming out of our pocket. Like we
Yeah.
can't, yeah, and we can't afford to buy every single game and
Which
play
which
it,
which is
but
which is fine. You do
yeah.
pick and choose, but it would be nice that when you're picking and choosing, that you actually get that game for that particular year to make a nomination, even if it's just 3 games that you bought, whether they were good or bad, if you enjoyed them or not, let those 3 be your nominations, because they're new games. They're, whether there was a sequel or a new IP that came out this year, you should be able to nominate it, and wherever it goes or wherever you want to place it at, it should happen. And I'm not trying to knock. I don't want to sound like that I'm knocking ongoing games and stuff. I just feel like if we're going to do an ongoing game kind of nomination, let that be that own category for a game of the year. Don't mix it into actual games that came out this year, or even do your top, mix that stuff in with your backlog games, or be like games we actually played and worked on, and keep that out of anything that was brand new that came out of that particular year. Like almost, yes, it is to list, but I feel like that's fair. And like I said, not knocking no one on Boss Rush, not knocking anyone who have their own way of doing stuff for Game of the Year nominations. That's just my personal viewpoint of it.
Yeah, and you know what? Because I haven't really played anything new this week. As far, like other than what I talked about on Boss Rush already. Yeah. I played some Destiny 2 and some Wreckfest and stuff this week. But speaking of ongoing games though, we'll get into some news here that kind of relates. I'm gonna go a little bit out of order here, but just because this kind of relates to the ongoing stuff. So I'm actually kind of excited about this, but the Division 2 is going to be getting a brand new game mode, and they're going to continue adding content to Division 2. So I'm kind of excited about that, because I'll be honest, it's been a little while since I've played Division, and I wouldn't mind going back to it. And knowing that, because that was the thing with the first one, like it was a good game, but once they started releasing new content, they had kind of gutted that game, and they really fixed it and made it just an amazing game that like was so much better and fun to play.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that they're going back to it, and they're gonna change some stuff up a little bit. And they said that they're coming out, and I got this article from IGN. They said that there's that this new content and stuff that they're doing soon here isn't the end either. They said they're gonna continue to add on to this a little bit. So that's really cool, especially for people who loved that game. And it's just kind of weird, because I believe it was last week I kind of mentioned how they were going to be adding on to not Watchdog, to Ghost Recon, Wildlands and stuff. So it's kind of interesting that they're all of a sudden out of nowhere. If I remember correctly, Division 2 was something they said they were not making any more content for a long time ago, and now all of a sudden they're going back on it. So I wonder if they're going to look into sticking with some of these games like the Division 2, doing some add-ons, and kind of keep their games with service stuff more to these, and then hopefully we'll see more Ubisoft games that are single player stuff, and stuff like that, because like because like EA and stuff like that as well. I think that's the right thing to do, is to you've got your couple of games like the Division and stuff that are games with the service that you could continuously keep on adding to and making money off of them, kind of like Destiny does. And just, like actually make it worth people putting that time in, like I was talking about earlier. Like people, like make people appreciate and enjoy the time that they're putting in, but also feel like they're going to be rewarded and have something further to look forward to that their time, was worth.
Well,
Um,
it's about keeping the players involved in your game, because
yeah,
you don't want to have a drop in
yeah,
your online service of a game.
yeah,
Because the
yeah,
thing about it is, when that happens, it's like, okay, it yes, it is a business and trying to make money, but it's just like, is our game no longer valuable? Is it not
yeah.
like
Is it
fun
no
and stuff?
longer in people's minds?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
because if
it's,
they want to come up with a three, they've got to keep people interested in it.
yeah,
If they want someone to buy a third one, they're gonna have to have people's mind share on it. So,
yeah,
I don't know whether there's gonna be a three anytime soon, but like I kind of would like if they just continuously add to it, do the Destiny thing, like where it's just an ongoing thing where it just eventually just becomes the Division, and they just continuously add new content and that brings you different places and whatever, but it still stays in that world
mm,
that it kind of is in. So
yeah.
I mean, ultimately, if you think about it, they literally could do all 50 states. Like they could have where, there's a camp in this state and that state, and like
But
I
I
mean,
think so.
ultimately they're
I,
when you're set in the real
mm.
world, the ideas are endless.
I think with, because of new consoles coming out, I think there will be a Division 3. I think they'll be able to make the ad sets more detailed, like create a
Mhm.
better world and stuff. Because even though they could continue to keep this world going, um, there's only so much people can do, limit wise, looking at, or graphical wise, I should say,
Yeah.
with it, because the gameplay is going to be there. It's not really going to change, or you just be hide behind something and shoot at it until they die. That's like
Well,
the basic gameplay. Like, they're not like they're
imagine,
like I like if I was gonna add anything, like I want to see, like, you turn the Division into a beat 'em up or something, or you like actually like do something with more of a melee thing, like do something like that's so wacky and so bunkers that the gameplay changes also. Because just hiding behind cover and shooting, it's just like that's, to now, in a sense, it's elementary. It's like it's kind of
yeah.
basic.
Yeah, I think the thing is though too is they could have like I wouldn't even mind seeing them take a little bit from Watch Dogs
Mm,
and have like where you could have, kind of like in beat 'em ups or shoot 'em ups, a lot of times like things like Contra,
yeah.
like where like a lot of times like a boss will drive in with a vehicle that then starts shooting at you and things like that,
What if they
and you
turned into
could
like,
have
you remember that game Smash TV where you just like
yeah
up in there? What if it turned into that just for fun?
yeah that would be interesting for sure. But
Exactly.
yeah, I mean I don't know,
I'm
it
excited.
it was interesting. It
I,
was
I'm
interesting.
I'm excited. It'll make me, because I popped into Division 2 a while just to get the updates and see how the world is, and I would be into it to see what they have to offer with this new update. I think
well
it's,
well and this gives people who don't care about the what is it, the dark zone or whatever it's
yeah, the
called.
Dark Zone. Yeah.
Yeah, this will give people who don't care about going into those lawless areas a chance to be able to get new weapons and all that
Mm,
stuff, and do, because I'll be honest, I didn't like the whole, like the dark zone. The dark zone idea is a really cool concept, but I just kind of wish that there wasn't that PvP aspect to it,
yeah.
because it just, I don't know. I just don't really think you need it. Like I think they could just as easily had powerful, like computer controlled guys in there that are
Yeah.
just kind of on different paths that they may travel and still make it difficult to, like where you may have to hold down the fort for a little bit and take out some guys before you can, like extract your weapons or whatever you got in those areas.
Yeah.
I don't think it needed to be PvP. Like, I mean, they could have still had a PvP version of it where if you chose to, you could do that, but then just have a regular dark zone as well, like, and make that an option. So
Yeah.
I don't like, yeah, because that's the one thing that it's cool sounding, but I never really cared about it because I don't, I didn't have anyone to play with that I could go do it with, because it's not something you can do single, like by yourself without just getting murdered like right away. So yeah, so that's one cool thing that I seen in the news that is good news for people who like the Division 2. So, and like I said, it's been a while since I went into that game, and I wouldn't mind going back to it for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm down for playing it.
Yeah. So, all right. So one of the other things that I come across that was kind of interesting and piqued my interest is so there's new browser stuff that they're working on for the Series X and S. The new what is it called? The Edge or whatever. So according to this IGN article, they've made some changes, and one of the changes that this new browser is going to allow for is people to be able to play Stadia on the Xbox.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean it's weird. I mean, it's kind of neat. I mean, I never in a million years would I have been like, yeah, you know what? I bet you one day we'll be able to play Stadia on the Xbox. Because I mean, you think about it, especially if it allows you to use the controller, or like even if you want to use your Xbox controller. I don't know how exactly it's going to work, but it's just something they put in. Ooh, sorry. They put in the article that it was gonna, that you'd be able to play Stadia and yeah, I was just like, what?
Yeah, because Stadia is more of for a software kind of thing than it is like hardware in a sense.
Yeah.
So it's kind of understandable that if you're able to play Stadia on your Series X, or your S through the browser, and if you got games that you didn't buy or it's not on Game Pass that's on those systems, and you bought them through Stadia, I mean, that's a good way. It's just open more availability
and Luna too.
And Luna,
it's actually gonna allow you to play Amazon Luna, and it says the console is native access to Game Pass. This could theoretically also allow for Xbox cloud gaming through a browser once Microsoft adds support for it in spring 2021. So, like, you could, that would be then essentially a way you could just go into the browser on your Xbox. If you don't feel like downloading the games onto your Xbox, you could just click in the, pull up the xCloud in the browser and play the Game Pass games through the browser on your Xbox. So then you don't have to download the game onto your, kind of like we had talked about. I think it was either last week or the week before, episode 129 or 130. But yeah, because I was saying that we want to be able to just play Game Pass games without having to download them, just be able to play them through the xCloud. So it says furthermore, this should allow for improved capability with browser-based games and services like Skype and Discord through the web. So eventually we would be able to use Discord on your Xbox through the web browser and chat through that while you're playing a game. You could just have it pulled up in the back, since if the idea is that, like, it kind of saves that stuff running in the background for the fast play or whatever.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, so yeah, it's interesting. Some good long needed changes, because I know people have been wanting to be able to use Discord and stuff on their Xbox for a long time, since basically the beginning of the Xbox One. I think already there was people out there that are like, come on, let's get Discord on, on consoles. And so this will be a way for people to hopefully get that now finally. So
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah.
I'm still trying to learn the Discord thing in video games. It's a me thing here, everybody.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, that's the thing is I've never used any of that stuff really, so it's a matter of learning all that stuff that
Yeah.
happens. All right, one of our last like bigger news things. So Tomb Raider: The Definitive Survivor Trilogy has popped up on the Microsoft Store, and then I think it disappeared. This is from a Eurogamer article. So apparently there's and it's still rumor, because I mean, like until we can actually get something definitive, an actual answer from someone, this is still just rumor. We can't, take it with a grain of salt.
Mhm.
But so like the idea is we could possibly get like a Xbox Series S and X upgrade version of the Tomb Raider games, but you get a whole trilogy, all three of them in one package. And that I think that would be awesome to get the trilogy with upgraded graphics and possibly frame rates and stuff like that for the new consoles, for the PS5 and Series X. That would be cool.
Yeah, it's just to me it makes sense for them just to go ahead and announce it, even though I want to Switch version.
Yeah.
The games look.
Well, who knows?
Yeah,
Who knows if that pro Switch is really a thing, we could see more stuff like this coming to it. So
look, I'll take even the 360 version of Rise and the original Tomb Raider and whatever they want to do with Shadow, they can, because those games. I was telling one of my Twitter friends, I'm like, I really love all three games. Like this trilogy reboot was fantastic. I still love Rise, but playing Shadow again, I'm just like, I was playing Shadow because when I normally played it, I played it like on my like 19-inch or 20-some inch TV. Now that I got like HDR and my Xbox One S does HDR, it looks even better. And I was just like, to see this mug running on a Series S and X, trying to see Rise of the Tomb Raider, where you just like you walk in and you just see that vast land. It's just the detail of Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Man, it's going to look amazing. And
ray
just
tracing.
Yes. Like, the ray tracing is. Oh, that's going to look just bunkers good. And all of this for I'll say $70, because you get all three games, and I'm assuming you get all the DLC with it. Now I don't know about the multiplayer. that would be that. But I think people will go back, and this is a good way to have that I feel like this is the definitive to have that definitive edition of this series. I think they just go ahead.
And that's what it's called. It's called the definitive Survivor Trilogy. So it is essentially the definitive version of all of the entire trilogy. Yeah, I think and like like everyone, when you talk about ray tracing, like everyone says like Tomb Raider, like games like Tomb Raider, games like Gears, games like Hellblade, games Horizon Zero Dawn. Like those are the kind of games that are really gonna show off the look of ray tracing. Like I think more so Tomb Raider and Gears, just because of those the settings where you're kind of in these rocky, and on Horizon when you're in the tombs down below, like with the ancient hard mechanics and stuff like that. But these are the kind of games that we want to see using ray tracing, because they're the best set up games to really show that off. So if we could get like a really good next gen like upgrade to all that whole entire trilogy, and like have ray tracing and all that stuff on them.
Yes.
And it could be like, hey, look how good this ray tracing was in this game, and it's not even built around it, like, because these games weren't built around having ray tracing in it. If they can really make it look good, they this trilogy could essentially be a really good look at what's to come as far as these kind of games go.
Yes.
So because that's the thing, is I really hope, and I know there's been talk that we probably won't, but I really hope we get another Tomb Raider for this gen. Like I hope that's why this trilogy is coming out, is because they're trying to get people excited, because another one's going to come out eventually. I don't know, because for me it's Resident Evil, Halo, and the Tomb Raider franchise. Those are like my top 3 like franchises overall, as far as like like the games that I've always loved since way far back.
Mm-hmm.
And I really want another Tomb Raider game.
Exactly.
So bad.
Exactly.
Especially on this new hardware. I want a new Tomb Raider game built for the Series X.
Yes.
Like I want to see that. I want to see something that's built from the ground up for these new hardware,
Yes,
So.
I agree.
So okay, and then the last thing here that I was going to talk about is just kind of, and now people hearing it, I'm hoping this is coming out earlier in the week than but so this week it ends March 13th, so it would be like, I think the next weekend, or the weekend of this week that you guys are hearing this.
Mm-hmm.
But so Target apparently has got a 10% off deal going on a bunch of games for the newer consoles and stuff like that, for whatever reason. But it ends March 13th, and now this includes for pre-order. Yeah. But the catch is, though, is it's only good, I think, for one game, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. But the nice part about it is that one game can also include collector's edition versions of games. And so, like, like a $40-$50 game, 10% off isn't a whole lot. But if you're getting like a collector's edition that costs like $130,
exactly,
you're gonna save like like $11-$12 on it or whatever.
Exactly.
So I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, the list of some of the games that they had on here that will be eligible for it is Returnal, Resident Evil Village, MLB The Show 21, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, MLB RBI Baseball 21, Subnautica Below Zero, Deathloop, Chivalry 2, It Takes Two, Biomutant, the game that I'm really looking forward to.
Dude, I'm so ready for that game.
Yeah. Balan Wonderworld, Judgment, Chris Tales, Scarlet Nexus, and Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2. Now I'm guessing they're talking about the the Series X, S, and PS5 edition, because
And Switch.
that game, yeah, because
And
that
Switch.
no, not Switch, because any of the games here
Oh,
that are on here, Nintendo, they didn't have the rights to be able to do it for Nintendo games. Only
so
the
just the newer
only
consoles. Okay.
yeah, just the newest generation of consoles. So,
Okay.
but yeah, so because the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 bundle, I'm guessing it's the same for PS5, that they're going to be getting an upgrade for PS5 as well.
Yeah,
But,
it is.
yeah, but Xbox is getting one, and from what I understand, I think it's a free upgrade if you got the bundle or something.
There's something. I think there's some kind of $10 charge. I gotta research that one.
Yeah,
Again.
I think it's if you bought just the standard, and not the deluxe version. If you got just a standard one, then it's like a $10 upcharge to get the upgrades. But if you got the deluxe version, then you get it free. It's the next gen or whatever version.
So,
I think for me it says that I got the next gen version of it, because anytime I click on it in the store, because you can pre-order it or whatever.
Yeah.
It says that you already own this, so I'm guessing I have it, but I don't know for sure. So
okay.
But yeah, 10% off, and unfortunately, it's only one game.
I could actually say if Biomutant would be my Xbox one, and then Returnal would be my PS5 one.
Yeah.
Even though I'm looking forward to Resident Evil Village and stuff, Returnal, since that comes out before Resident Evil Village, I would use that discount for Returnal.
Yeah. And for me, obviously, I'm all digital, so it doesn't really do a whole lot for me. But I mean, like if there was something that I did want to own the digital or the physical version of, it would be,
So last week, even though bringing in a little bit Nintendo, I was at Target because I picked up Bravely Default 2. They actually had this same kind of sale for Nintendo Switch game cards. So like the games that come on those cards that you scratch off and stuff, they had that sale. So it's probably the same thing. It's probably almost the same thing, but they're doing pre-orders with this one and actual games, because I don't know if Series X or PlayStation have game cards, almost like Switch does. And even though there's a lot of like first party indie stuff, I don't know if they have it for PS5 and Series X. I haven't got to go to the store and look. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, they have cards for like individual games where you can buy a game digitally.
Yeah.
And then it's just a card for it. You enter the code in, and then it unlocks it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's for people, who don't want to put a charge card on their consoles or whatever. Then that allows them to buy them digitally, but not have to pay.
Because I wonder if they have like the Series X logo. You know how they be like X, I think Series X, or they have like PlayStation 5. I haven't seen. I that's why I said I'll have to go check those cards if they got them to see if they have that.
Yeah, it's very similar to the Nintendo ones and stuff. Yeah, all three consoles have those, I believe. Just like in PC too. PC you can buy games digitally that way as well, where it's just like it's a code for Epic, the Epic store, or it's a code for, the whatever store, and then you can just get it, and go into that store, type the code in, and then it will just automatically download it. So certain games, I don't know how they pick which games do it, but
because I think it's very convenient that they do that. I just like when I said, when I go to Target, I just need to see if those same cards and stuff, because I think this is a great deal for people who want a good game on the cheap, or think it's going to be a good game on the cheap, because you don't never know until that game actually releases. But like 10% off, that's a steal.
Yeah, Yeah, it's it's better than nothing, and like they mention in this article, with play a lot of these new PlayStation games being 69.99,
Yes.
10% off is gonna make up for a little bit of that price hike that some of these games are getting.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah,
I don't know if they charge taxes for those cards because they may be considered almost like gift cards in a sense. I would have to
yeah,
do some
I
research
don't know. Yeah,
because
I
like
don't know.
yeah, because if they don't charge no tax, everybody get on this good deal. Like bring the actual price down and don't have to pay no tax and get that digital version of the game.
Yeah. Although I would imagine you have to, because like when I buy a game digitally on the store,
Hmm.
I have to pay tax.
Well,
You have to pay tax.
tax,
So
yeah.
I don't know.
But it's because it's a card. I don't know if it falls under gift card. That's the thing about it. So, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. So yeah, that's pretty much. I just wanted to add that on just because I came across that and I seen that was interesting. And I actually my headphones. I got new headphones today. They're
yes.
the Razer 7.1 surround sound ones.
Oh, nice.
And and they're normally like 79.99 or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And Target had them on sale for 59.99. So
Oh, that's good. That's
yeah,
cool.
so I saved $20. So yeah, because I was like I had a pair like these, but they were
Mm,
the more like I think like the $50 ones or whatever, the forty nine
yeah.
ninety nine one. But my daughter, like, she likes to chew on things sometimes, and she freaking chewed right through the cord, and it didn't work anymore. I
No.
literally used them twice.
Oh
They
no.
were so brand new. I was so mad. And so yeah, and then my other ones I let my son use, and so I was like, I need to get a pair of headphones to replace those ones that my
Yeah.
daughter. So I took the opportunity because I seen that these were on sale there. So yeah, if you need some, new headphones, go pick these up because yeah, they're it's a good sale. And there's a bunch of really good brands at Target. Like they've always got a good selection by me
Yeah.
anyway. So, and
I
these ones are actually in the PC
see.
area because
Uh-huh.
they can work for PC, but they these also work with the PS5. They work with the Xbox One, the Series X. They work with all of it. So
Yeah, they normally tell like what systems or like what platforms or
mhm.
whatever and everything.
Yep.
It's funny that you mentioned that you got a good one because if I don't go to the Target that's like in close to my house, uh
Hmm.
I normally go to the one that's in Kenosha. Uh
Yeah.
because of course they got the Milwaukee Burger, some other good restaurants for
Yeah.
food talk. um
Yeah.
but I would drive out to that one because the thing about it, it's so weird that like even though Target their Target in Kenosha is really packed, some people don't go to their electronics section and you can find some good stuff there too. Shoot,
Yeah.
when I found Code Vein for like literally like $7 on Xbox One, I was just like, this game literally just came out about 2 months ago. Why is it in the bargain bin? And I snagged it. And I'm just like, yes.
Yeah, that's cool. Whenever you find like a good deal
Yes.
somewhere, like yeah, just we'll wrap it up here. But I remember still we were in Milwaukee and
Mm,
we were visiting my wife's family. And I was like, you know what? I like another thing I like to do is when I'm in cities that I'm not used to or I'm not familiar with or
yes.
haven't been to in a while. I love going to their Goodwills to see, what kind of gems you can find there. And
Yes.
I went to the Goodwill in Milwaukee by where my wife's cousin had lived, and I for 99 cents I found a copy of the original copy of Beatles Abbey Road on vinyl.
Uh-huh.
And so I got, for 99 cents, I have a like original copy of the Beatles Abbey Road,
Oh, sweet.
and on top of it, it actually was one of the rare misprint versions of it where when they were printing them, the back screwed up, and so they just slapped a picture of the back on the back of it over the misprint. So
wow.
yeah, so it sucks though because whoever had it didn't take good care of it. So it's not worth a lot because it's ripped on both sides. So like you can push the album and it goes right out the other end. So that sucks because had it actually been in better condition, it would probably be worth a good chunk of money because those rare misprint ones, the original ones are hard to come by, let alone the rare misprint ones. So
yes,
yeah, but it was still cool. I still have it, and the record was in perfect condition, so it wasn't scratched or anything. So I could play it on my turntable, and it sounded perfect and everything. So that's all I cared about. I mean, just having it too, for a buck.
yes.
I mean, I don't care. I don't care what it's not worth. For $1, it's worth way more than what I paid for it in my eyes. But so yeah, but all right. I'm hungry, so all right. So yeah, we Corey's kind of been helping me because he's still got to kind of upload these things. So I'm just know I'm still trying to do these every week. I don't know for sure when they're going to be up, but they'll be up. They will be available eventually. I think I got to see if maybe I can talk with Corey and figure something out where maybe he can even show me how to upload them myself, and I can just do everything on my end and just do it right away. We're still in the process of trying to figure a couple things out here, so be patient. We're like I said, I'm gonna try to do this. Yeah, I got a lot to learn too because I don't really know how to use. I mean, I know how to use like the editing programs and all that stuff, but I still need to learn. There's still a lot I need to learn because I haven't done like editing video stuff since like I was in high school or whatever. So it's been a long time since I've used an editing program, and it's been, all the editing programs I used back then have probably been updated like 20 times at this point. Nothing like what I was using then. So yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot to learn, but yeah, we should have one of these. So there should be, I don't know what day, but it will be available every week. So, so. All right. Yeah. Is there anything else that you can really think of? I mean,
no.
I think at the end of this, you may hear some extra content as well that we kind of had in the beginning, because we started the show before I actually I started the show. So we had a whole big talking. Yeah. So I'm gonna try to throw that at the end here. So then after you'll hear a little bit of the outro music, which is just the intro music to this show played in reverse for I'm having fun with editing stuff and just trying to do goofy things, but so you'll hear that. So let's throw up the X because we're about to exit.
Yes.
All right.
Bye everybody.
Yeah, bye. Oh. There we go.
There we go.
All right. Yeah, I was looking around and there was not much for news.
Yeah, so. it's a struggle with Xbox. And I think that's why yesterday I was just like, they got to start talking because they're gonna get left. They're getting left in the dust with the news. And I think that's what I was just trying to get with. I'm like, even though, and
Yeah.
that's why I said yes. Nintendo and Sony have been talking, showing us what we're getting for August, and like Microsoft should be doing something because you got a lot of people who look forward to your system and want to buy your system and got it, and they really can't play anything on it besides a lot of backwards compatibility. Because I think everybody already played the launch games, and then it was just like everybody went to the backwards compatible system. That's what I was really trying to say. And with Bethesda or the Vault in general, it's like, of course they're not going to be saying anything, but we really don't know what they got besides Deathloop, Indiana Jones, even though that's LucasArts film, and the Ghost one. Like and that first person role playing game that they show, they only got like 4 things, and Bethesda alone can't carry the Vault in games. You know, they can't carry Microsoft or anything. So Microsoft got to show us something. I don't care if they could do another Inside Xbox, show us some more third party games that's coming to the system. They don't even have to show first party stuff. Just show us something so that we know that we can look forward to making purchases for your system.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Inside Xbox is showing that kind of stuff. They have been putting up videos like this week in Xbox or whatever, or this week in Inside or whatever it's called, their videos. I just didn't really take much of those because it's not like, not really something noteworthy. It would just be a matter of just saying, hey, like this game this week was announced, and then I mean, there's not really much to talk about there, as far as a conversation. But
Right.
they do have, I mean, they have had, been releasing third party stuff that's been getting announced, but they're they just haven't had like an actual show thing that,
Cause cause the medium, and then the Resident Evil demo that's supposed to be coming this month, and then actually I think Resident Evil in May, cause I don't know what is coming in April for Xbox of its third party. That's a lot of Nintendo and Sony, cause like Returnal is coming out. I know. Well, Apex is this month. It's Tuesday. There's something in April that's coming in for Nintendo, and I gotta research it. Like Sony and Microsoft, Sony and Nintendo are good for right now, but like, man, Microsoft, you guys gotta say something. You guys really got to say something. Like I would have even enjoyed the 3 out of 10 if they would have just like did a big marketing thing instead of like is it Larry Bird or something? Or
I don't know for sure.
Yeah, because it's just like when Microsoft drops something, they dropped it on Twitter, but it's just like, oh, we got this game out. What game? I didn't even know you guys had the game coming out. Like the 3 out of 10. Until you told me about it, Jesse, I knew nothing about that game at all.
Yeah. I mean, I do think we're gonna get some stuff. They're gonna talk about some stuff, but it's just, like we had said on Boss Rush. I think their thing is they kind of have to wait to get, like figure out what they want to talk about. And since they couldn't talk about any of the Bethesda stuff, because I'm sure there are certain things of the Bethesda stuff that they will talk about and announce before E3, like just specific things, but not everything, obviously, because they're going to leave a lot of stuff for E3. But I think the problem is right now is they need to see at this point what they even have to talk about. Because like I said, I mean, like we've been hearing about like a couple of the games from Sony, and like a lot of those games that they've talked about over the past couple of months are all getting delayed. So
yeah,
I mean, what good was them talking about it now?
What was good talking about it is that they let people know that that is in production, that is in the work. So and and that's why I said yesterday. I'm like, when we watched the Game Awards, we knew we seen no. Well, Fable was in July. I think that was the July reveal. But we know that Perfect Dark is coming. That's great. We know Fable is coming. That's great. Hellblade, Halo, Forza Motorsport. That's great. But now that your system is out, and right now it's kind of a dry spell, you guys got to push something. You're pushing stuff for Game Pass, which is fine, but you got to push something for Series X and Series S. You got to push. You really got to push something, because we were having this conversation. I think no, me and you had this conversation 2 weeks ago, like last episode. Remember when everybody said that what's coming out for Switch, what's going to be their launch lineup, and then Switch was hitting everything month by month, like whether it's an indie or first party. That same thing should have been happening to Sony and Microsoft. Even though I know COVID happened, they should at least have something in the pipe works that something could roll out every 4 or 5 weeks. I don't care what it is. Like, let something come out.
That's the thing, is I think they would have if things were normal.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't. It was just not something that they could plan for. And have seen this coming at the time of when they had were fully they were dedicated in releasing the consoles. I mean, and that dedication and all that stuff that was set up was way before COVID started. And then unfortunately, once like they thought they would have had games to talk about and things that they would be finishing up as time went on, that the new consoles were out, but all that stuff just completely got slowed down and put to a stop because of everything. So I think that's the thing, and maybe we could talk about this a little bit on the show, but
we can. I keep forgetting that every time you have these conversations, we never do the show start.
Well, hey, and you know what? We can even just throw this at the end, maybe.
Yeah.
So I'll just finish up my thoughts on this.
Yeah, go ahead.
So like the other thing I was thinking too, like about this, because a lot of people have been saying like they should have just canceled releasing the new consoles. They should have just, not released the new consoles and waited until newer games are coming out. But my thing is with that is, one, it's not fair to the people who do have stuff ready to release on the new consoles. And two, like the thing is I still, even let's say that before the Xbox came out, we knew that there was going to be nothing for almost a year on that console when it comes out. I still would have wanted to get it because I still want to be able to play my old games and the new games that come out.
Yeah.
With better load times, with faster, better performance, all those things, because had the Series X not come out and the PS5 not come out, who on console would have been able to enjoy playing Cyberpunk at all?
Can I even add to that? If it wasn't for backwards compatibility for both of those systems, both of those companies would have been in trouble. If they would have released their systems without backwards compatibility, both of them systems would have been in trouble.
Yeah. And like, Microsoft has put so much, and they're still like, that's the great thing, is they still are putting so much attention to detail in that backwards compatibility stuff, and they're still constantly updating and improving that stuff and seeing what this new console can do now. And I mean, that's the thing, is like, and just the fact that, like, if you already have the game, you don't have to ever buy it again, even with the, like they're doing, that's such a big deal for me as far as, all that work that they're putting in. And I know like they're, part of that is them trying to make it up to their fans who stuck with them even through the hard times here. But they still wouldn't have to do that. They still could, But and just like, you know, them even not really charging, just still charging $59.99 for their games and stuff like
Yeah.
that. They could be charging $70 like PlayStation is too, but for right now it seems like that's not in their cards to
Yeah.
start you know. So, and there is part of that we'll get into the show. So
Okay.
yeah, we'll just end that with that, and I'll throw that at the end. So
All right.
all right.